de los Angeles Virgen.
When I got home, it was after dusk, and my parents were frantically looking for me.
Santa Ana, where have you been?
Yelled my mother at me. My mother hugged me, then gasped when she saw the dead owls gathered in the skirt of my dress. Instantly, she and my father brought me into the house. Once inside, I let go of my hem, and all the dead owls fell to the floor.
No,
said my father.
not now, not here.
My mother started crying hysterically.
What have you done? Oh, Santana, what have you done?
My father asked, shaking me. They were both quite aware that I had killed someone, but I wasn't thinking about that man anymore. I wanted my mother to help me heal the owls. I ignored his question. Help them, Nan, I pleaded, bending down to pick one up, to smooth back its beautiful heart-shaped face. They need your breath of life, I hollered anxiously. My mother and father looked palely at each other. Then my mother knelt down and uncurled my fingers from the dead owl's grip. My father took the owl and picked the rest up, placing them into the empty firewood basket by the fireplace. He used a clean cloth to wipe up the mud and the blood. "No, Papa!" I yelled. I looked at my mother when he would not say anything. "They saved me, Nan!" I yelled, trying to reassure her. "They saved me!" I said again as I collapsed into my mother's arms and wept. They were both quiet and seemed to know what had happened to me, but didn't know the details. Suddenly, my mother pushed me away from her and held my gaze strongly.
Tell me, Hija, did he take your purity?
My mother pleaded. I was worried she would be angry with me for disobeying them. I went out when they knew I shouldn't. Hastily, I nodded no. It was somewhat of the truth. I didn't know exactly what had happened. I held up my hand. The blood dried and almost stained my skin. Black, but my nails, for some reason, were still long and curved like a talon, just smaller than before. It trembled in the air. My mother gasped and looked up at my father in a cold and angry manner. Was I going to be punished? I thought to myself. My father took off his hat, then his belt, and my eyes went wide. But to my surprise, he did not punish me. Instead, he retrieved another leather belt from the back of the fireplace, one I had never seen before, and left the house in a fit of anger and haste. While my father was gone, my mother stripped me of my clothes and burned them. She brought reeds and herbs in from outside and began sweeping them all over my shivering body. She lit the copal resin that she kept for special occasions over the coals in the fireplace. The sweet, familiar scent filled my nostrils and stung my eyes. It made me cough at first, several times, as it was too much for me at first. But then, after some time, my lungs relaxed, as did the rest of my body, as the Olympia was taking full effect. I didn't understand why she was doing it, though. She made me drink this bitter hot tea that made my tongue tingle but left my stomach numb. I stared at the dead owls in the basket, never taking my eyes off them, sad because she wouldn't bring them back to life. I knew I had killed someone, but I did not feel like I had done wrong. I had defended myself. Why did I need Olympia? My mother noticed the expression on my face, then stopped to look at me.
He brought evil into your home, Preciosa. And as a result, you brought death into our home.
My mother said, eyes tearing. No, I thought to myself, he would have killed me. He's the one that brought death. The owl saved my life. And at the time, being so young, her meaning of your home flew over my head. I was protecting myself, I said. The owls protected me.
Yes, I know.
Mother said.
I would have done the same.
She said hastily, as if she just now realized she was being misunderstood.
You had no choice, and I do not blame you. But still the shadow of death has touched you, and now it hangs over you, and our house. Necesitas una limpiada, to bring the light of dawn back, to fix your sanctuary, your spiritual home.
My sanctuary, I asked, confused.
The part of you that is sacred.
She said. What about them? I asked, motioning towards the beautiful owls. My mother sighed. Why can't you save them? I asked, crying once again. They saved me.
Mija, listen.
She said.
Did you hear a voice when they died?
My eyes perked up. I looked at her. How did she know?
They gave their life to save you, Mija. Their spirit is already in you. I cannot wake them up again. They gave themselves willingly to protect you.
I hugged her then. I loved her. I loved my mother so much. Mi reina, I thought to myself. It was true. I did feel their spirit in me. Where is Papa? I finally asked when the tears stopped coming. Once more my mother swept herbs over me with one hand, and in the other she held eggs and rubbed it on my body. I think she must have used 30 eggs until the yolk, once broken, finally ran clear.
Papa is out dealing with business, Mija. Do not worry about that. And do not...
She shook me and made me look at her.
Do not ask him where he went or what he was doing. Do you hear me? All this must not get out to the public. No one must know about the man, or your owls, or what he did to you.
She said sternly.
And especially what you did to him. Do you understand?
She said, still staring into my eyes. Her eyes were misty and red from crying, but still they were strong.
If anyone asks, you don't know anything. Do you understand, Preciosa? Answer me.
She asked again. Si mama, I said, in my best Spanish. It was at that moment that I had a vision of my papa as a jaguar, eating the flesh of the dead man by the lake, down to its very bones. It was just a glimmer, but it was enough for me to realize the severity of everything that she said, and everything that had happened. The jaguar consumed the dead body just like Tezcatlipoca, consumed the whole world and the sun, leaving nothing in its place. Tecos went and stood beside a tree that was very old and half falling on its side. He ran one hand over its trunk as if petting it.
This tree, I'm seeing flashes of memory.
Yes, that is where I last saw my mother, I said to him, walking close to him. The day that the ghouls had killed her and my father, she came to visit me as a great horned owl after her passing. The owl hooted outside in the early morning, and strange, surreal moment passed before me, kind of like déjà vu. I knew then, at that moment, the owl came to bring me a message from my mother, I told him, almost allowing the tears to fall.
She spoke to you after she died?
Tecos asked, but it was more of a rhetorical question. Yes, she did, I said. With those hoots, I knew exactly that both of them were gone. I opened the door to step outside, but she flew into the house and perched on top of the fireplace, I said, pointing towards the now destroyed hearth. She told me, without saying a word, to move a brick on the mantel. And after careful inspection, I found the loose brick my father had manipulated into a secret hiding spot. But I hastily put the brick back and started putting on my best shoes.
But the owl didn't leave, did she?
Tecos said, a soft smile on his lips. No, she did not. And I was frantically telling it too, because I needed to run away and find a safe spot. I laughed through my tears. The vampires were coming for me. It was so stubborn, and it wasn't until it attempted to reach into the empty brick spot with its own beak that I realized why. I knew there must have been something in there, it really wanted me to have. When I reached in, the feeling was almost electric. It was something of mine. I pulled it out, and it was a sacred medicine bag made out of what appeared to be owl skins. My father had not thrown them out. He had made me a skin after all, a sacred one. A red pouch filled with what smelled like herbs and even some corn pollen. When I reached in again, I felt even more leather. It was enough to make a small regalia. Tikos was smiling and looked at me.
I still remember that beautiful dress you made in a hurry. It is what made you stand out against everyone beautiful, a holy woman, my mate.
Yes, it may be burned and gone now, but their sacrifice was not in vain. I still have my pouch, as I reach down to pull it up and sniff the fresh herbs I'm never far from. My mother was a curandera, even if in the public eyes of the colonials she was simply a midwife, nothing greater, nothing less. To the local natives, she was given the code name Tlamatl-Quitizitl, or Titzitl for short. She was the best there was, but she didn't just deliver babies. She brought all kinds of healing magic. I'm sure it was her idea to give me a medicine bag. She never wanted me to forget. But why? My parents had turned on their ancestors, on their old medicines, at least in public. Why did my mother give me a medicine bag?
I think she was just waiting until you were ready,
Tikos stated. I nodded. Yes, he was right. Times were dangerous back then, for shifters like us. Before the murder of my parents, life was different. After the incident by the lake, Mama would not leave me alone, not even for a minute. My father took away the owls and told me he got rid of them. He lied to me, out of fear, perhaps. He instilled in me the idea that I was not allowed to use my medicine ever again, and was not allowed to leave again on my own. I was okay with never being alone again, at least for a little while. Without our silver and crystals, the mind link was slow and minimal, but sometimes communication was still very transparent between us. No matter how angry or indignant I felt about them taking away my owls, I silently accepted it. I resented them for a long time afterwards, but I was obedient and didn't dare question them. Looking back, it was all for the best. Every dawn, before the sky softened into blue, she would shake me gently and whisper,
Levántate, mi hija. Today, you walk with me again.
and I did. I followed her everywhere, into adobe homes where incense curled like prayers, into kitchens heavy with steam and servant secrets, into fields where the poorest of the workers called their home.
Tichitl, lo necesito.
Vente a mi casa para un pastelito tzitzitl.
Or,
Tengo algo que te quiero enseñar, Chito.
everyone needed some kind of healing, it seemed. The rich, the poor. Some paid us with coin, most with food, and for a few others, with humble thanks and a blessing. Each one we respected as equals. It was something Mama had instilled in me. She never spoke the reason out loud, but I understood why she never left me alone. She feared the darkness that had brushed our doorstep might return. She feared leaving me alone long enough for it to take root. In her shadow, I was safe, protected, and grew to love her trade. Just not the midwife part. I did not love that. I watched her hands, weathered, wise, unshakable, soothe fevers, straighten bones, calm spirits, and whisper blessings into water. When Mama was busy with a birth, she would leave me with other curanderas who she trusted. They took me in like a fellow daughter of the craft. They showed me how to grind herbs in rhythm with the heartbeat of the land, how to blow life back into wilted souls, how to listen not only with ears but with spirit. But inside me, something was changing. Something or someone like a ghost of a sort was teaching me a different type of medicine. A darkness lived there, a rage I could not swallow. And no matter how hard I tried to ignore it or chase away the bad thoughts, they always returned. Even one of my fingernails was never the same after the lake incident. It grew warped and crooked, having never quite let go of the owl spirit. It grew just a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, and very much hooked like a talon no matter what I did. It was my crooked fingernail, crooked just like how I felt my soul was becoming. A hatred for drunken men, for violence, for anything that reminded me of that one day was felt deep in my bones. A bitterness that curled under my ribs and refused to leave, though I hid it well. Mama would say,
Healing comes slow, like a cactus blooming. Thorns grow all around to protect itself.
She paused to touch my nail with love and understanding.
But inside, a sweet delicacy is being created.
But I did not feel like a cactus bloom. I felt like an owl, solitary, alone, and drawn to the darkness. I yearned for the bloom of the night.
Hello, if you enjoy these kind of psychological thrillers, then subscribe to hear more.